Chapter 25. The New Headmaster. In the morning it was raining torrentially, but after noon the storm dispersed. It was the first days of autumn. It was still raining little. On Wednesday, October 3, 2010, that afternoon, the humidity in the streets still remained in the morning. Heavy rain in the morning. It was a calm day at Asgard Ranch. Many of those who were there still remembered the joys of the Fudblaze Cup victory and appreciated the trophy in the ranch's common room. That afternoon, many of the boys were preparing to watch on television the Fudblaze match between the Dragons and the Lions for the local Pizcet League. Alessio, Alvord, Gavin, Black, Alex, Darius, Nick, Aaron, Roger were in the common room waiting for the others. Some of the girls like Angelitsa, Leisha, Liza were preparing bowls with fried foods, sweets, donuts, juices and beer on a table to watch the game. When suddenly the broadcast of the game was interrupted. The Pizcet Times newscast reported on an accident on the interstate highway that ran through downtown Pizcet to the frozen route from the Plateu district, a wide, 4-lane highway. "Hey! Look at that!" Gavin said. "Angelitsa, turn up the TV more volume please." Darius shouted. As the volume increased, a reporter said the following. "Good afternoon to all who tune in. This afternoon 2 people died on the Pizcet Interstate, a carriage that was transporting the director of the Rhoda School, Yuri Quested, and the head of the school's houses, Jean Charles. Both suffered an accident apparently when the horses lost control of the carriage, causing it to fall into the bed of the Pizcet River that passes over the St. Isis Bridge. When the authorities were present, it was already too late and both were lifeless. Strength for their families and peace to his remains." "It can't be," Black shouted, surprised and holding his head. "I can't believe it. How strong," said Angelica. More people continued to arrive in the common room to see the news. Angie, Emily, Chaka, Adrian, Louis, Mariah, Priscilla and Bastian. Everyone's faces were shocked after hearing and seeing the news. The news continued with interviews on the spot. "We met representatives from the Antoska and Lunesk station and clinic who are on site to remove the bodies. Mr. Dr. Mikhail Yamilov, what is the first thing you find when you arrive at the place?" asked the reporter. "Well, the first thing we found are the 2 charred bodies of the professors, since after the accident, the carriage burned in flames, which we believe caused them to lose consciousness and not manage to get out to save themselves," answered Dr. Yamilov. "We are also accompanied by Mr. Tim Morgan from the Lunesk station. Commissioner, what can you tell us about this?" asked the reporter. "It is clear that we think that the accident could have been due to a defect in the carriage or a problem with horses, however, have the theory, thanks to the analysis and investigation of the forensic and criminological team of the Antoska Clinic and Lunesk station, that this accident was caused by a person or some criminal organization. It was an attack, some terrorist group, rebels, unemployed people. We will continue investigating at the moment. We believe that the group of First Sin rebels could be involved. We at the Lunesk station had always been against the relaxation measures that Director Yuri Quested and the Patriarch had taken against these criminals. I warned them that it was dangerous. One swallow does not make a summer. At the moment they are in their homes in a form of house arrest, guarded outside their homes by the Lunesk sentinels. We do not rule out that their rebel group has grown, and through third parties they have carried out that terrorist act," Tim Morgan replied. "What did that idiot say?" "We did? What happens?" said Bastian furiously. "They will continue to blame us for everything that happens negatively in the town. We must continue advancing in the search and clear our names," said Angie. "Now, I ask you, who could be the new director?" Gavin asked the entire group. "I just hope it's not someone like Berenice," Adrian said. "Or like the Inquisitors." Louis added while making a disgusted expression. We can only wait. Priscilla said, we'll see tomorrow, when we go back to school. Said Roger, it's a problem. The director Yuri always trusted us and saw us in a good light. She always defended us. She listened to us openly. Without her, we are unprotected. We must be careful at school. Without her, is a risk for us. Said Black. Do you think they will make us go back to the dungeons? Asked Alvord. Oh, please, no. Said Emily with an expression of concern. The next day, the students returned to the school, where classes were suspended. Everyone received an email telling them that the funeral of the director and the head of the houses was going to take place in the Great Hall, and later, a carriage would transport their coffins to the Pizcet graveyard. As it was 11 o'clock, the clock on the tower of the school square chimed every 15 seconds. The flags of the houses were at half-mast. There was mourning and mourning at the Rhoda school. The school had never faced a mourning in this way in its years of history. The sixth director had died due to an accident. At the beginning of the ceremony, the students of each house were placed in different seats, separated from the house of Jade Clovers. Guarded by sentinels of Lunesque, they were on the left side of the Great Hall. In addition to the students, the teachers were in the center of the room, dressed completely in black. The teachers with dark glasses and black clothes, while the teachers with black dresses, dark glasses and veils that covered their faces. There was crying and pain in the atmosphere. People from different areas of the town were also present. There was Flower Deli from the Central Market plant store. She had been in charge of all the decoration of floral arrangements with yellow lilies and daisies. She was a great friend of the director. There was also Dewey, the engineer of the train to school. A short guy, with long gray hair, with his glasses. It was the only day that the kids noticed him clean. He was not ragged or covered in soot and carbon on his clothes and cheeks. Also, in the front row was Daisy, who was a tall lady, with medium-length brown hair and blue eyes. She was the owner of the school cafeteria, who prepared delicious banquets and had a small section of the candy store. Hallmarks in the cafeteria, since she was a cousin of Nicole and Alice, owners of the store, in the cafeteria. The head of the houses, Jean Charles, used to have lunch every day in the place at 12:50. They became present were several representatives of the great cathedral. First the patriarch. There were priests, pontiffs, vicars, sacristans, deacons, clerics, fathers, priestesses and nuns, all in their black clothing, and finally, the mayor and the mayor number 2. The members of the Lunesque station and the city hall. Professor Silvana went up to the stage, wearing an elegant black dress, and spoke a few words to start the ceremony, followed by this. Professor Darrell, Professor Digo and Professor Isabel also said a few words. After that, they went up to the stage members of the city council to give a speech for the deceased, also the patriarch, and finally, the members of the great cathedral, to say their last goodbye, and entrust their souls and bodies to the god Eshin. At the end of the ceremony, which had taken more than 3 hours, Professor Silvana announced that in the coming days the new director would be elected. The directive would come from a deliberation that would be held by the Department of Education. The Council of Teachers threw a vote among the teachers with leadership and teaching seniority in the place, in addition to candidates proposed by the City Council and the Great Cathedral. There would be a ceremony for Friday of next week in the Great Hall of the school. After finishing the ceremony, everyone returned to their classrooms to reactivate the day's lessons. It was an atmosphere, gray, sad, tense, of confusion, of doubt about what would come soon. In addition to that, the 9th year of the academic year was about to finish. So everyone was receiving in their correspondence the grades of the current course, where everyone had passed without any problem and the 10th year awaited them. Months passed, the school year ended. Summer began. The summer vacations of 2010 were not the best. There was a lot of confusion in the atmosphere at the ranch about what would happen in the future. What would happen when the new director arrived or director? The holidays passed. Thanksgiving, Christmas and New Year's Day were very different. They were not celebrated with the same joy. There was still a lot of tension. On January 20, 2011, there was a week left until the return of the academic year in the school. That morning at the ranch the first news arrived. Boys and girls, I need you to call an assembly immediately in the meeting room. I have news from the school. Leisha Nanny shouted while a worried face was visible on her. What is it about? Nanny? Angie answered. It's something bad? Asked Fergie. Did they expel us from school? Alex asked. Daniel Black was sitting in the common room of the ranch with Adrienne and Alvord. They went down the stairs to call Roger and Gavin, who were in the garden planting and collecting vegetables and fruits from the ranch's fields. Besides them, Chaka and Alessio were chatting and chopping wood next to Bastian. After a few minutes, everyone entered the meeting room. The quorum was complete. Gavin, Daniel and Angie were sitting in front. The rest of the heroes in front of them, while the rest of the room was at a round table with their seats around them. Nanny, so what is the news you bring us? Angie asked. My mother received this letter yesterday. It is from the school for the students. I don't know if you at home received the same letter. So Gavin, here. Read it yourself, said Nanny as she handed him the letter in Gavin's hands, and he asked Alex to read it, since he was the right person because he was the loudest voice in the room. Alex took the letter, opened the envelope and began to read. January 17, 2011, addressed to parents and students. Rhoda School. I am writing to inform you about the changes that are approaching in our teaching home next year. The Education Department of the City Council will send Miss Rebecca Gabilin as supervisor for the order and discipline of the students for this upcoming academic year. She will make visits to our school, ensuring order in the classrooms, hallways and common areas. Information is being handled about the student elections and the Fudblaze Cup tournament. And with great joy, we announce the inauguration of a marble monument near the main corridor to the east of the school, where miners from the Pizcet mines will come to carve statues of the 6 directors that our teaching home has had. The other rules and changes will be announced as the course progresses. We look forward to seeing you in February. Sincerely, your new director, Silvana Gardner. What? Professor Silvana is the new headmaster of the school? Alex asked in amazement. No, Adrian shouted loudly throughout the room. This is our end. If you pay attention to the letter, its changes denote authoritarianism and drastic measures. I already miss Director Yuri quested. We are in serious trouble, said Liza. I had the same feeling when I read it. I couldn't believe it, said Leisha. I am speechless, said Gavin. If you plan a homicidal attack against she, I offer myself as the murderer. I hate that bitch. She has always tried to harm me since the first year, for someone to look for a dagger for me. Angelica, lend me your katana, said Oscar. Don't say stupid things. Oscar. Angie interrupted him, slapping him. Well, from this movement we must see his intentions clearly, said Priscilla. Do you really think that she could be the witch? Alessio asked. As Pry said, we have to analyze everything she does. She might not be, but we don't have to rule her out like I had told them a few years ago, said Roger. From at this moment she is a possibility. But she may be innocent. In all these years we have never felt a bad vibe coming from her, said Alessio. We must stay united and continue investigating, friends, added Liza. The question is, who named her? What statutes does she have to take that position? As far as I know, there are teachers who have been at the school for longer, according to all the requirements that she mentioned at the funeral, said Chaka. Yes, the truth is that it seems to me that it is a strange decision. That she has been appointed as director by all those members of that committee, said Black. I imagine it must be because she was Yuri and Charles's right hand, said Alvord. And that Rebecca? Who is she? Emily asked. That woman is another problem too, Mariah said. Those people the education department sends have always been a problem. Lewis added, let's be strong, united. Friends, in a few weeks we will see what the future holds for us, said Angelica. Perhaps, this order will bring us new clues about the prophecy. We must be prepared. And I think I have been thinking of a plan, said Angie. What do you have in mind, Curly? Gavin asked Angie, and she told everyone before closing the session in the meeting room about a plan that she had, but that she would not tell them yet. She would need a few weeks to better capture your idea. After this, Mariana, Aura and Paula arrived with Gabby to the common room to tell the rest about her pregnancy. The boys were very happy for Gabby. She said that she would give birth to her daughter Tamara near the fall. So in the ranch would hold a celebration for her prior to the start of the course. The days passed. Monday, February 7, 2011, the school year began. At the opening and assignment ceremony, the teachers were in another type of ceremony or ritual, the placing of the nun's veil on Professor Silvana's head, or as she should be called now, Director Silvana. Everyone applauded once this ceremony was over, especially those from the House of Scarlet Eagles with euphoria. The students from the House of Jade Clovers remained silent in the applause. Later she gave her first official words as principal, and introduced Miss Rebecca Gabilan, a tall girl, with dark skin, cat eyes, a snub nose, black hair with a ponytail, wearing a purple suit with the shield of the Department of Education, black pants and heels. Then, Director Silvana gave a few words to the first-year students and began with the assignment of the houses. After that, she continued with the entry students for advanced years, where in the 10th year, for the House of Clovers of Jade called a boy named Tony Summer and a girl named Naomi Montgomery, but to everyone's surprise, neither of these two showed up, which seemed strange and confusing among the group members. Likewise, in the House of the Scarlet Eagles, a girl named Kelly Luces, a short, dark-skinned, thin girl, with thick hair, big teeth. Rogerio's Atelier, a boy also assigned to the Scarlet Eagles, but to the 9th year, he was a short boy, with short hair, dark skin. At the time of being called, he looked like Dan Lizard and his henchmen from the Eagles. They received them in the sector where they used to be located. Upon arriving at the living room, Angie told them that she already had the plan that she had told them at the ranch in the last days.